Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Cherie. I hope everybody's doing well and happy, living their best life. So today I'm going to be sharing my process on making a couple of Christmas ephemera holders. And I wanted to make two. This is one that I have that's just like everyday labels kind of thing, and I've got pockets on top of pockets, and I actually made these using the little, like in the old vintage photo albums, the waterfall albums, that's what the clear pockets are. And I've done bigger ones with vellum before, but I was watching Rachel at Roxy Creations, and she recently made like a really big one, and she used these clear sticky labels. So I was like, that's so genius and easy, because typically I will stitch every single one of those little pockets in. So I wanted to try something different. I've never used Amazon packaging before to make like a journal. So I thought I'm going to go ahead and for the first one use this Amazon packaging just to get a feel for it, to see if maybe I would like to try it as a journal one day. So, but for now, I was like, I'll just go ahead and make my first ephemera book out of this. And I made it a little bit bigger because I wanted one that was going to be small for like my tiny labels, or labels in general, and then one that would be for more like focal point pieces. So I rifled through some Christmas fabrics that I have, and I decided to go with this one. It's really pretty. I love the florals on it, and yeah, I just liked it. So I wasn't sure when I had my packaging, I wasn't sure if I needed to back it like with some sort of padding or what. So I decided that I wasn't going to back it. I was just going to leave it as it was and see how it went, because it's just for me. It's not like, you know, it's just for me. So I was like, if it's not what I want it to be in the future, then that's okay. And I just went ahead and used my Fabri-Tac, and I'm just gonna trim my corners off kind of haphazardly, because I know that I want to put book corners on my book, so I'm not like trying to make sure that they're perfect or whatever. And then I'm just gonna use my glue stick to glue my sides down. I love using my glue stick, especially if I know I'm going to be sewing, because, you know, it's easy on the sewing machine. So there's that. And that book I made a little bit bigger. I think I did 5 by 7 or 7.5 by 5, something like that. And then I have this gorgeous wrapping paper, and I believe it's from Stampin' Up, and I've had it for a few years now, and I thought I'm going to use this because it's one of my favorite pieces of Christmas paper. And I'm just going to mark it out and then trim it down and glue it on. And I'm just going to use my glue stick. But before I did that, I thought, let me go ahead and reinforce my spine just a little bit more. And I just used my, just some regular old masking tape, which typically when I do this, I will put it on before I put the cover fabric on, obviously, but I just wasn't thinking about it. And I did it on the second one too, I forgot. But it's okay, it doesn't hurt anything. So yeah, so I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and use my glue stick, because I know that I'm going to stitch this. And I actually kept making little dumb mistakes, and I think it was just because I was excited about it. So I was like getting over anxious and kind of rushing, because I watched her video and Rachel's video, and I was like, oh, I should make some Christmas ephemera books. That is such a good idea. And yeah, so I kind of got to it, and then I was fudging up left and right, but that's okay, because it's just for me, so it's not a big deal. So I'm just gonna zigzag stitch all the way around. And I do really like the way that it looks, but there's one spot on the cover that you could see the the packaging showing through because it was like a black barcode or something, and it was driving me a little bonkers. So I think in the future I will put maybe not necessarily padding, but maybe like just some muslin or something over top before I put my fabric on, especially if it's a light colored fabric. So now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just do a little something, not go too crazy with the cover, because like I said, there's that spot and I knew I wanted to cover it up. So I just pulled out my little basket that I have like crocheted pieces in, and lace and trim, and the same basket that I still haven't cleaned out, that I need to clean out and put things back where they belong. So right now it's just kind of like a catch-all for those type of materials. And I did like that first one, but it wasn't quite long enough, and I didn't really like it with the crocheted edge on the spine. Like, if there wasn't that spot, the crocheted edge on the spine would have been perfect. Like, that's kind of the look that I really enjoy. And this one I think is really pretty, but then I was like, oh, it's just kind of too pretty to put on just an ephemera book, you know? So then I found this little doily here, and I was like, this will work perfect. It will be large enough to cover up that spot so it's not driving me crazy, and give it a little extra prettiness. And I think that it works out. So I'm gonna take you on this long journey here of creating these books. If you've never made one before, they are so useful, and it really kind of changes the way, like when I started using them and I was journaling, it just made such a difference. So back to the books, I just grabbed a couple of trims, or trims, but neither one of them were working for me. So I just found this vintage skinny, I don't think it's called trim, maybe it's bias tape or something, or seam binding, maybe that's the word I'm looking for. And I liked it, so I went with that one. And then I just used my, crocodile and put an eyelet in and string it through. But I am excited about the books, or this one right now. It's like, I am really liking how this looks. This is gonna work out just great. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just add me some book corners, just because I like the way that they look. I just feel like it finishes the book. It just makes it, I don't know, it's pretty. And I always put just a tiny bit of Fabri-Tac on the corners, because Fabri-Tac is a really good glue, and I don't know, it just gives me peace of mind, I guess. I don't think you necessarily have to do it, but just for peace of mind's sake, I do it. So yeah, so that is the first one as far as the cover goes. And then I'm going to start on the second one, which is going to be a smaller one, and I'm going to make it the same way that I made my other two, which is just using a file folder. And I believe that this was like a 4x6. So I like the tiny size for the labels, like the really tiny label, just like labels in general, I guess. And then I'm going to go ahead and back that, and this is just a piece of felt, I think it is, and I'm just going to use my glue stick, my handy dandy little glue stick, because my Fabri-Tac has been giving me problems. So, and my glue stick works fine. Even if I'm making a journal, I'll use my glue stick, especially for that part, because everything's going to be stitched. So it's not like, if I wasn't going to stitch it, I would totally use my Fabri-Tac and just kind of suffer through it. So this time I did go ahead and put like a little piece of muslin on. Forgot to put my little masking tape on before I did my cover too, or my prep for my cover, but that's okay. It's just for me, it's not a big deal. It's not like you can see it. And then I'm back to my fabrics, and that's actually a vintage hanky, or not a hanky, I'm sorry, it is a vintage napkin, and I love the pattern. It's so pretty, and I was like, I think I want to use this, but then I was like, well, it's so pretty, I don't know if I want to use it just for an ephemera book, because I don't really have a ton of it. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just use a little piece. And then I started kind of trying to patch things together and figure out exactly what I would want. And then I was like, all right, I need to quit fussing and just pick something. Because it doesn't have to be, I'm like, it doesn't have to be beautiful. It's just an ephemera book. I mean, I still like them though. I still think they're pretty. So this fabric here is, it's also a vintage Christmas fabric, and I don't know what it is about it, but I just love it. The little pattern on there, just, I don't know, I just like it a lot. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go with this because it's kind of like an everyday Christmas kind of fabric, you know. It's not too flashy, and I like the simplicity of it, and it works for me. So I'm just going to use my handy dandy glue stick again and just kind of wonkily cut my corners again. And that is, if you're wondering, it's Scotch glue stick permanent. I really like it. I think it's a really good glue stick. So then here I was thinking I would use this, but then I was like, it's really wide and I don't want to cover up all this fabric that I like. So I just need a little piece, and yeah, I ended up changing my mind. I got the plaid out and I was like, okay, I like this plaid a lot. So I'm just going to use the plaid because plaid says Christmas, doesn't it? But I was kind of debating. I was like, maybe. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stick with the plaid. Keep it simple. Because these books are going to be used. They're going to be functional. You know, pretty much anytime I'm going to be working on my Christmas stuff, they'll be out. So they are great for function. So I just glued that little piece down there, and same thing. I cut my corners, and then I was like, well, I'll go ahead and cover up this this seam here, and I pulled out this little piece of trim, which I really liked, but I'm gonna grab a couple of other options just to make sure it's the best one. And that one was just a little too flashy. The reds were off. This one was okay, but I felt like it was like it could have a better use, this piece of trim here, because I don't have a ton of Christmas trims. So and that green trim there I do have quite a bit of, which, you know, I use it for not just for Christmas, but for any time that green flowery trim is needed. It works. And I'm just gonna put it on with my glue stick. So these did come together really quick. I was really happy with, as far as the covers go. The inside was a little bit of a struggle doing the pages, but that's okay. Yeah, so I'm happy with it, and I'm just going to go ahead and stitch all the way around, which here's where I got, like I said, a little excited and made a boo-boo, because I did not do my inside before I stitched around. And then I was like, I mean, you know, I have done it where I've stitched the cover and then put the inside in and then stitch around it again, so it's really not that big a deal. But typically I do them both at the same time. So for this one, I decided I was going to go with paper, like actual scrapbooking paper. So the other one, the Amazon one, is a bit more flimsy, I guess. It's not quite as sturdy, which is fine. You know, not saying that it's not going to function right, but I am kind of curious to see how it will hold up through the holiday season. Yeah, and I just picked up a plain piece of red fabric, and then I'm just going to pick out some scrapbooking paper. I was thinking maybe I would use that, but there wasn't enough of it, and I didn't want to use it twice. So I just grabbed this Christmas pad from Authentique. It's one that I haven't really used a whole lot of the pages out of, so I was like, I'll go ahead and use this. Just because we gotta use our stuff, right? There's no sense in it just sitting there. So I picked out this this page here that's kind of got like a newspaper print on it. And I'm just doing my measurements, making sure I'm all squared away. So yeah, so I am really liking how these are turning out, or this one is. I really like that inside a lot. And I'm just gonna stick it down with my glue stick again. And it works. But I do end up stitching on some of it, just to make sure that it, you know, stays tacked down. Just because that paper is pretty thick and I didn't want it to come up. I guess I could have trimmed part of this out, sorry. I had edited my video and it was like 40 something minutes, and then I was like, okay, and then I started doing the voiceover on it and I was like, 40 minutes, that's just crazy. So I went through and trimmed some, and I guess I should have trimmed some more. So I just go ahead and, like I said, and I stitched, you know, just in some areas just to make sure that it stays down. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and put my my eyelet on. And I was not like measuring perfectly. I just kind of wanted to make sure I was in the vicinity of the middle. And I was, so it worked out. So my eyelet's on, and now I'm going to go for my book corners again. And I just do the same thing. These are a little bit more difficult to get on because my book itself is actually, you know, a lot thicker than the other one. They just slid right on easy peasy with the Amazon packaging. But these I kind of had to, you know, like open them up a little bit and squeeze them on there good and take out a tool and make sure that it was, you know, pressed down on there really well. So now that that's done, I just went back to my little drawer of seam binding and bias tape and all that good fun stuff, and just grabbed this green one. So I got one red and one green. And I like how that looks. I'm pretty happy. So those are going to be my two ephemera books. So I've got one that's like 5 by 7 1/4, I think, and one that is 4 by 6. So for the 4 by 6, I'm going to use just white cardstock, and I was just breaking out my other ones to see how many pages I had, and I think I used 5 pages. And this one I decided I would go ahead and also put a couple of pockets. So I'll put pockets on the pages, and then I will put my like big pockets, and then I will put my little clear pockets for my actual labels. I'll put those on top of the pockets as well, because I like to have a little bit of space to like maybe tuck some pieces in that I haven't quite fussy cut out all the way, you know, or if I have extra I can stick it in there and pull it out whenever I run out of the other one and cut them, and you know, all that. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just trimming my papers down, and I'm gonna fold them all up, and I decided to just use that same paper pad that I pulled out for the inside of the book, which was that 12 by 12 authentique paper pad. And I'm just going to trim or cut down a couple of pockets, or papers, sorry. And I'm not like trying to do anything too fancy, or, you know, I just want a couple of pages just for a few pockets. like my the journal books or the ephemera books that I have that I use on a daily basis, they have a lot of pockets in them. But I find that I don't really need that many pockets. Like I have quite a few that are empty. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to go crazy with pockets. I'm just going to put a few here and there. And then with the pockets, I do go ahead and stitch them all on, all the way around, just because they are, you know, they're used. So there's going to be a lot of tugging and stuff on them. So this is what the first one looks like, or the second one really. And yeah, I'm happy with the result, and I figured, you know, I've got some, I still have stuff to put in it, but you know, it works. I like it. So the Amazon packaging, since it was something that I was doing different, I started the cover and the cover was different. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do something different. And I used some colored paper this time, and I just, you know, I have to trim them down, and I just trimmed it to 7 by 10 or 10 by 7. And then this one, I decided that I would not do a ton of pockets, just because the focal point pieces, I feel like ones that I will use in the future or need to cut out in the future, they're going to be bigger, so they would probably end up taking up a lot of room and bulking up the book quite a bit. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do 4 pockets. And I was thinking I would do 2 in the front and 2 in the back, but then when I started working on it, I changed my mind again and just decided to do 2 in the back. And I just used that little 6x6 paper pad from Graphic 45, I think. And I just picked out some pages that, you know, ones that weren't super pretty. They're just kind of basic, which is fine because it's just for function. It's not for looks, you know. So I made my books one day, and then I worked on the inside. Like I think I got the first one done, the little one done, and then this one I got done on a different day. So yeah, so I did 5 pages again, and then I was thinking, okay, I can put my pockets in the front, and then I was like, you know what, I don't think I want my pockets in the front. I think I'm going to put them in the back. But yeah, I decided not to stitch them in too. That was something different. And then I was watching, I love watching Rachel and Gail. They're like my 2 gals that I watch on a regular basis. And she was working on a tall document journal, which seems interesting to me. I might give it a go. And she used this way of stitching her pages in, and I was like, oh, I gotta try that. That just looks so easy. So I decided that since this Amazon packaging book here is really thin and it's not super thick, that I would try it out this way. So I'm going to give it the test of the holiday season with this way of binding a book together and see how it holds up, I think. And if it works, then I don't know, who knows what possibilities lie ahead. If it works, I'm going to be pretty darn excited, I'll tell you that right now. Just because doing the binding in the books is like my least favorite part of making journals. Like for me, it is such a hassle. I'm like, ugh. But if I can make a book doing it like this, it's a whole new world. No, I'm just playing. I'll still do my big ones because I do love a big journal. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my pockets, and then like I said, I decided not to stitch it in. I really kind of been curious about this glitter glue. Like I've been using it, but I want to know is it going to stand the test of time with tugging, I guess. If I'm putting things in a pocket and taking them out multiple times on a regular basis, is that glue going to hold? So, so I decided to use the glue and test that out too, that little theory there. So then my little sticky labels are, the ones in this book are obviously a little bit longer than the ones in the other book. And I had to buy these separate. So the first time I bought them, I bought a pack that was like a multi-pack that had a whole bunch of different sizes in it. And then I realized that they didn't have small enough ones in it for my little book, so I had to purchase little ones for the little book. And then the little ones I purchased were too little for this book, so I had to purchase another size label for this book, which is totally fine because I will use them. It's not, you know, I'm not complaining by any means, and I still don't have all the sizes that I would like for this book. So I just put one big pocket there, and then these, this size here, which I'm not sure what it is. It might be like a 3x2 or something. I think it's for like business cards, like a business card pocket type size. And I was thinking, okay, well, I'll do 2 of these, and then I'll put one on the edge, because that's what Rachel did. But, yeah, it didn't fit. It was too big. And then I tried to rip it up, and it was going to rip my paper, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave it there. And I did not have enough of this particular size to do my whole book, so I'm going to have to order a fourth set of these little labels here to finish my book. But that's okay, no worries. So then these are just some little focal points, like I said, that I actually got them this year. And I can't remember the name of the shop that I got them from. There's actually a couple of different shops, but I will link them below where I got them. They were pretty cheap, and I thought they were just so darn cute. And some of the ephemera pieces are from Rachel at Roxy Creations, so I'll link her too. And so I started like thinking, okay, well, how am I going to put them in here? And I decided I got one pocket for little doggies, I got a pocket for cats, and I'll put the bigger pieces in the back here, like the really big pieces. So maybe I'll put another big pocket back there. And then these little cards here, I'm not sure where I got these from either. I'll just stick them in the front, these little cat ones, which those are ones that I had from last year. So those are not new. They're not a new purchase anyways. And then my variety there, I do like that I have those little strips in the front, and then I got, you know, like a bigger pocket and then a really big pocket. I do like that. So I'm just kind of sticking them in. I don't know if this is how they're going to stay, but I'll figure that out while I'm using my book. You know, I'll make changes as I need to. And yeah, so there's that pocket that I made, and I decided, okay, I'll go ahead and put some little ones here, and then maybe these round pieces will stay in the little ones if I just, you know, use it as like a little tuck. We'll see if they end up falling out all over the place or not. And then I also, with the little kids they're just so adorable. I love those little kids. I printed them on different paper. I did cardstock, I did copy paper, and I have two printers, so the color is off between the two. You know, they're not the same color. I'm having a brain fart, but y'all know what I mean. So color tones, but that's okay. You know, I can still use them regardless if one is more white than the other, or lighter or darker or whatever. It's not like they don't work. But yeah, so I had most of the little kids I had printed on cardstock. So I was trying to put them where I have like my copy paper ones, and then my cardstock ones. And then I have like a little pocket that's got snowmen, and then I kind of just got a pocket for florals there, and then I just kind of put the kids together however they may be. But yeah, I'm super excited for this book. I can't wait to use it because I haven't used it yet. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I think I'm going to make my mother-in-law one because she crafts. She's a paper crafter as well. And you could even put stickers in here. And the label one, I was thinking, you know, if you do that that Advent, if you do December daily and you do the Advent calendar, it'd be a great place to keep your numbers. And they're just so functional. So while I was digging through and pulling out all these little fussy cuts that I've been doing lately, I found a few little labels that needed to go in the label book. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go ahead and do that too. Just get them in there so they don't get lost. And I also had purchased some Christmas words as well, like little phrases and things that I'm really excited about using those too, right there. And I had more that I needed to put in. So I'm just going to stick those in there like so. So yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's October, but we're, you know, doing Christmas. Hopefully by the time Christmas gets here, I'll still want to do December daily. I'm sure I will. But yeah, oh, and those I got off at Etsy, and I really like them. I looked and looked and looked all over Etsy to find some Christmas words that I thought would be good for me, and those are ones that I found, so I'm excited about those as well. I love the little ones for your tags and things. And yeah, I think that pretty much does it. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope that you're all doing well, and if you have any questions, just leave me a comment below. And I hope that y'all have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.